For our guest today, we have the Louisiana State Veteran Affairs, Mr. Jory Strickland, and he's here today to share with us his agenda and hopefully what he's trying to achieve as secretary, and hopefully with his information that he's presenting to us, he can give us a good insight as to what he's trying to achieve. Mr. Secretary, it's an honor to have you, my friend.
Thank you, Greg. It's good to see you again.
Okay.
And it's a pleasure being here. And I just want to say before we get started that it's an honor for me to have been selected by Governor John Bel Edwards to be the Secretary of Veterans Affairs for our state. Mm-hmm. As you know, Governor Edwards is a fellow
veteran. Yes.
and is very proactive when it comes to the activities and the things that we do for our veterans. He's
yes.
very supportive. But also I want to let the folks out there know that I'm not new to this position. Many people out there know who I am. First, I'm retired from the United States Army after a career of 30 years,
okay,
including 2 combat tours in Vietnam.
Okay.
And I have 3 sons who are all combat veterans of
okay.
Iraq and Afghanistan, which
okay.
I'm very proud. And my wife is a military brat.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, her father was retired Army and Vietnam veteran, so our whole family is involved in the military and in veterans issues. And when I retired back in 1994, I was actually hired by Governor Mike Foster to be the director. Back then it wasn't secretary,
okay.
It was the director of Veterans Affairs. I worked for Mike for 8 years leading this department, and then I was retained by Governor Blanco when she became governor, and I worked for her for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then I actually worked for Governor Jindal for about 8 months as the deputy
yes.
secretary when he became governor. But then I was offered the job of Secretary of Veterans Affairs for what I call my second state, Arizona.
Okay.
I'm Native American, and I have a lot of relatives in Arizona, and I have mm-hmm. grandchildren out there. So it was a chance to go out there and do work for veterans. I was out there for about 5 years.
Yes.
And then came back and was not sure what direction my life was going to take until Governor Edwards asked me to come back and take over the department. And mm-hmm. I'm glad to be here. I love our veterans and their families, and always happy to support them. But this department is a dynamic department. We're not a small agency. We are a cabinet level department on the governor's staff. We have over 900 employees
okay.
throughout the state of Louisiana that supports our veterans and their families. A lot of people don't understand that there's actually 2 VAs. There's the federal VA, and then there's the state VA. Every state has a Department of Veterans Affairs that works for their governor,
okay.
just like the National Guard.
Okay.
And so we are the state of Louisiana's Department of Veterans Affairs. Our job is to, in addition to the programs that we run, is to advocate for our veterans whenever there are issues involving health care or cemeteries mm-hmm. or benefits, and they feel that they've not been treated fairly by the federal VA, then we get involved.
Okay.
And
okay.
we break down those hurdles. We take a look at everything that the veteran has, and then we arbitrate on their behalf before the federal VA. So I just wanted to make to make that clear.
Yeah.
And the way that it works, Greg, is that the federal VA in every state runs all of the VA medical centers and the federal health clinics. They run the national cemeteries, and then they have the national benefits office in one of the bigger cities. Our national benefits office is in New Orleans.
Okay.
But we have a team of paralegals that are co-located. These are benefits experts that are co-located with the federal folks up there to make sure that our veterans' claims are processed accurately and as well as,
mm-hmm.
as they can be. And the reason we do that is because when those claims come out of our benefits offices at the parish level, mm-hmm. We want to make sure that those claims are so well put together that when they get into the federal pipeline, there are no issues with them.
They're hard to dispute of anything.
Yeah, because if there's an issue, then it could set that veteran back
yes.
5, 6, 7, maybe even up to a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And these our veterans need these benefits. And we are very fortunate in Louisiana that we have a benefits office in every parish, and we have highly trained counselors in manning those offices that meet with our veterans at the local level,
Right.
and ensure that their claims are put together, and they help them, they assist them in every way possible.
Right.
And last year, we brought into the state of Louisiana, and this is something that a lot of our political folks don't understand, and I'm kind of like John the Baptist in the wilderness.
All right.
I'm always preaching to the legislature that the benefits that our veterans bring to the state of Louisiana is federal funds.
Right.
Last year, we brought in $1.2 billion
Into Louisiana?
into Louisiana in federal benefits funding. And that's money that goes directly into the veteran's pocket.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, we can stop this end this segment, and we'll be back. We are back with Secretary Strickland, and hopefully he will pick up where he left off and provide that information we so desperately need.
We are one of the few states that has a partnership with our parish governments in terms of having our benefits counselors out there at the what I call the grassroots level. Our parishes pay 25% toward the counselor salary. The state pays 75%, and they are our employees. So it's a real partnership, and the parish government is invested in their veterans. The state is invested in our veterans. So it really works well. And all of these veterans counselors out there at the parish level, they are well known by their mayors, by their counselors, and with the kind of money that is brought in through our benefits divisions, once our legislators are made aware of that, they are real supportive. I want to say up front that I've been in this business now for a long time, ever since I retired and from the Army, and our legislators here in Louisiana are very supportive of our veterans. I have never spoke to one legislator who was not supportive. Once they understand what the situation is, if I'm coming before the Legislative Budget Committee asking for additional funding support, then they generally are very cooperative. So I want to make that known to the public. And we don't receive, Greg, a lot of money from the state. We are a $60 million agency, but we self-generate most of our funding.
You self-generate?
We self-generate.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, we self-generate most of our funding. We only get about $5 million in state general funds. And that goes primarily to operate our cemeteries and for salaries and things like that. All of our homes are self-sustaining. They generate their own money. Actually, they even bring in extra funds. There's always a reserve there, which we keep a 90-day reserve at the homes in case there's an issue and weather-related flooding or something like that. And so when we go before the legislature, generally we ask for spending authorities, and they give it to us because they know that we won't ask for it if we don't have the money. And so it works very well.
Well, I'm glad that the legislature, has that mindset as far as helping the veterans. I find it by being involved with the clinic, which I'm a veteran, but I hear other stories outside the state, but it doesn't happen too much in the state. Our veterans here are really being taken care of as far as what I know. I mean,
we are
experiences that I have with it.
And as you are aware, I've spoken to you many times in the past. We have 330,000 veterans here in the state of Louisiana. And we like to say that we're a gumbo people. You know, we're all races, we're all colors, and
Yes.
you know, and I'm very proud of our Louisiana veterans. Whenever there's a danger to our nation, our Louisiana veterans are the first to step up,
Right,
and
right.
and to serve. And so it's incumbent upon us as a department to take care of them when they come back.
Right.
One of the things that I've always felt is that our nation sometimes is quick to go to war,
Right.
but we don't always think about the aftermath. Who's going to take care of these combat wounded veterans when they come
Yes,
home?
yes.
And I've experienced that in my own family. Two of my loved ones who served in Iraq and Afghanistan struggle with issues related to their combat experience. So I'm very
Service connected with them.
Yeah, they're service connected, and so I'm very close to that whole situation, that whole mentality, and so it's the partnership that we have here in Louisiana with our federal VA is good. I talk to other state directors around the nation, and there's sometimes a little bit of antagonism, a little bit of who has the power.
Right.
You know, here.
Political.
Yeah, you know, a lot of that. Here in Louisiana, we don't have that. Whenever there are mistakes made or there's an issue made, it's because of a bureaucratic situation, not because somebody is trying to outdo somebody else.
Right, right.
I have a very good relationship with all three VA Medical Center directors. Fernando Rivera, Mr. Rivera in New Orleans.
Okay.
I've known him for years, personal friend, works hard, takes care of our veterans. All I have to do is, I have his cell number.
Okay.
All I have to do, if there's a problem, is pick up the cell and say, hey, Fernando, this is Joey. We've got a problem with this veteran. He wasn't whatever the case may be.
Right, right.
Same thing in Shreveport. Toby Matthews, great veteran supporter. And then there's also the director there in Pineville, Peter Dancy. We don't normally have issues involving too much New Orleans and Shreveport.
Right. I hate to stop you right here, my friend, but we are ending this second segment. We are back with Secretary Strickland, and hopefully we'll pick up where we left off at the last segment. So it's on you, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, I was describing the VA medical centers.
Right.
We're very fortunate in our state to have 3 state-of-the-art VA medical centers which take care of our veterans. And those 3 VA medical centers are reinforced by a number of federal health clinics around the state, like
Our clinic,
yeah, you know, we're very happy that in Lafayette,
yes,
they're going to open
the new
brand new
clinic,
clinic.
yes.
Will be open in November.
Right.
The VA Medical Center, the new hospital in New Orleans, the ribbon cutting is on the 18th of November, and I'll be there. But all over our state, Lake Charles, they just started working on their new federal clinic. We've got one in Jennings, Shreveport, Monroe, all over the North Shore, where veterans don't have to go to the VA medical centers. They can go to the clinics and be taken care of. And those, where we run into problems sometimes is there's such a thing as a choice card that the federal VA came out with last year, a couple of years ago, but mostly last year. The choice card allows the veteran, if there's a backlog at the VA medical centers for, say, example, specialty care.
Right.
The veteran can present his choice card to the VA and request that he be allowed to use a civilian, what we call a civilian medical facility, like our community.
Yeah, right.
Like say Cabrini in Alexandria,
Okay, yeah.
or Lady of the Lake in Baton
Yeah,
Rouge.
right.
Once the VA authorizes the veteran to use his choice card, that veteran can go anywhere
he wants.
and
Yeah.
be taken care of, and the VA will process the payments to the community medical facility. Sometimes the VA, federal VA, is a little bit slow in making those payments, and when the veteran starts receiving the bills, he gets a little panicky, and that he'll call us, and then we'll get involved, and we'll remind the VA, hey, you got to make that payment because our veteran is being receiving letters saying that he owes us
He
money.
owes us money, yes.
Yeah, and generally the VA is quick to, once it comes to their attention, they're quick to make the payment.
Right, right. Well, I tell you what, though, listening to you, you know, there's a lot of information that you informed us about that I was not even aware of.
Right.
So, I mean, this is one of the reasons why the Veterans Corner became into existence, to provide the correct information to the veterans community, as well as letting the community as a whole understand what the veterans is going through and what walls are put up in front of him. As long as everybody knows what's going on, then everybody is going to profit from it.
Exactly, and we work really hard. We have a communications director, a young lady who's a former Air Force captain. Her husband is retired Air Force. Our deputy secretary, it was an Army Special Forces paratrooper years ago. Almost all of our employees up here are veterans, and we understand the commitment that our people have and what they went through during their service. And so because of that patriotism that we bring to the job, for us it's not just a paycheck, it's a real understanding of what our veterans need out there. And we really get concerned. We work very hard to put information out. Right now we're redesigning our new website to make it, and we're hoping to launch a totally new website in January to make it easy for veterans to find information. It was in shatters when we came on board in January. But we have an excellent Facebook that we invite people to look at. We post a lot of news on the Facebook. You may have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And so we're very proud of that. But we work very hard to not only run our veterans homes. We have 5 state-of-the-art veterans homes. We have 4 state-of-the-art cemeteries where we honor our veterans when their days on Earth are over.
Yes.
And that's in addition to our benefits program around the state. But we also have other programs, Greg, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We have the Military Family Assistance Program.
Right.
We have the Honor Medal Program. We have the State Approval Agency, which I'll explain that in a bit too.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we have the Troops to Teachers Program.
When I was up there in Fort Polk, I ran across one that was say from Troops to Teachers.
Yeah.
Program.
It's a program that's been with us for about 20 years. There's a rumor that it may be going away. We don't know because it's controlled by Department of Defense.
Okay.
But it's still with us for right now. And so those are just some of the programs that we have. But we have a very extensive outreach program as well. We are especially concerned about our younger veterans. I, as a father of 3 sons, combat veterans, am especially concerned because we need to make sure that when those veterans come home struggling with post-traumatic stress or with traumatic brain injury, that they receive priority.
Yes.
That they get the care that they need.
Yes. Well, I tell you what, I'm sorry to say that this is going to end this first show, and we'll be back for part 2 on another show, and so we can continue with Secretary Strickland, giving us information that we will share.